I'll kick it over to you, Noah.
Cool. So today we're going to be demonstrating two scenarios where deepfakes can be used for voice phishing and social engineering attacks on video calls. In the first, you're going to see a real-time deepfake video. In the second, you're going to see how deepfake audio could be used for these types of attacks without the video. A really important distinction. And you're also going to see how deep trust works across different platforms. Obviously, this is not Zoom, this is not Teams, this is not Meet, but we support all of those. And so in these scenarios, you'll see deep trust on Meet and you'll see deep trust on Zoom working in real time. After the call, if you're interested in a demo where you can see it and test it, and we're happy to set that up with you. But for the purposes of this call, we're going to be really demonstrating, one, how these attacks have evolved, and then two, how it works in real time to help defend against these types of attacks. With that, let's jump into it. And Jason, I'll let you kick things off here with scenario one, which is going to be deepfake video.
Today, I've committed a crime. I have stolen both the voice and the likeness of Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase. Today, my objective is to test deep trust detection capabilities in video conferencing. I'm going to start by executing a targeted spear phishing attack via email with a link to join a Zoom meeting. My goal is to wire transfer $1.7 million to an offshore account via deepfake live video conferencing using both audio disguised as a voicemail and real-time deepfake. Let's begin.
Unfortunately for us, our calls are protected by Deep Trust. Take a look at our CFO join this call.
Hey, did you see that email from our CFO about the bank transfer?
Yeah, I got a voicemail from him. It sounded pretty urgent. So I just quickly requested him to jump on the call, just because I know security on this sort of thing is pretty important.
Yeah, no. That makes total sense. I know our security team is pretty adamant about that type of thing. It'll be interesting to see how it goes with Deep Trust on the call, though. At least we know anything suspicious will get flagged.
Yeah. Oh, he's here. Hey, Jamie, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
I appreciate you both jumping on this call on short notice.
Yeah, for sure. Happy to help you here. I have to say, are you feeling okay? You look a little off.
Yeah, I'm good. My video quality is a little bad. It's a bad internet connection.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
You did the right thing for asking for a call. The email that I sent about the bank transfer earlier is to be kept strictly confidential. We're facing a situation where we need to keep the transaction off the record. As mentioned in the email, we'll need to wire transfer 25 million to 15 different bank accounts.
Hey, I'm sorry for interrupting, Jamie, but my security agent's flagging this request.
Yeah, it's prompting us to ask a personal question. Hopefully you don't mind. You know how it goes with this type of thing. We were talking about our favorite go-to bars last week. What did you say your favorite one was again?
The McFadden's Irish Bar.
That definitely was it.
Well,
Oh
thank
my
God.
gosh, that wasn't legit.
Yeah, I guess not. Let's report this to the security team.
Yeah, no, good call. Okay, so let's recap what happened there real quick, and feel free to be active in the QA. We want this to be an interactive session here. A phishing email was sent to two employees at the department of a company. They jumped on a call to verify that the request was legitimate. This exact scenario has played out before. And the attacker joined the call using real-time deepfake face. It moves in real time. You can pinch the cheeks. You could brush your hair. It's extremely realistic, and it was created by Jason and his team at Breacher with just a single image. And Jason is able to kind of demonstrate on that example, how you can join a call and look real. And in this scenario, the two employees had deep trust on the call. And again, we can show all of this to you if you're interested in chatting with us afterwards. They had deep trust on the call, and deep trust was able to flag the request made by the fake CFO as an illegitimate request or suspicious request, and remind the employees to ask a personal question to follow up and verify the speaker's identity. Deep Trust does this with what we call our context analysis. So it's looking at the transcriptions of the call. It can be tailored to organizational policies, procedures, and security awareness training. And it's flagging social engineering attempts and alerting both the security team, which you saw in Slack, and alerting the user, which you saw in the interface there. Obviously, a user on the call isn't going to have Slack and thing open side by side as they have their video call. But the point was to show you that these notifications are coming in real time. Again, all things that we can demonstrate to you if you're interested in checking it out afterwards. What's really impressive about this particular deepfake, and Jason could speak a little bit more to this right afterwards, is its ability to, again, move really quickly and fluidly and match your face as you turn and you speak. It's something that we were really, really impressed by, and it's something that was posted publicly on GitHub. And Jason, I'll let you speak a little bit more to this particular type of deepfake and how you guys utilize it in some of your training and pen testing.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yep. So deepfake has improved, and it continues to improve rapidly. What I find the most impressive is it's just one photo. That's all that's needed at this point. So in the past, a lot of the guidance is, hey, be careful about your social media footprint. And the problem with deepfake is that will become less relevant over time, right? It is important to be situationally aware of what you share on social media, but your ability to remove all photos and all images of you and all recordings of your voice, I think that's really hard to do. So it's pretty realistic. It's not perfect by any means, but it's almost there for a clarity perspective. And one thing that we do is we actually shoot in 720p as well. That helps kind of hide some of the irregularities and the glitches as well, basically smooths out the video. So it's definitely a threat to keep an eye on, and definitely an emerging sort of vector. As you have to worry about social engineering during conference calls as well. And one thing about deepfake to keep in mind is the individual that's basically being impersonated, be it a CEO or a CFO, they may be able to override any secondary approver transactions, right? So if you have a policy in place that says, hey, you've got to check with the CFO, if you're talking to a likeness of the CEO, that may not happen. The employee that's being socially engineered may not adhere to that policy or request, so keep that in mind as well. Definitely a threat to keep an eye on, and definitely emerging as well. I anticipate that we'll see more of these occur, very similar to the Arab attack in Hong Kong in the very near future as well. So with the ease of use and basically the wide availability of this on GitHub as well, is definitely concerning. So, okay, get back to you, Noah.
Yes. So one of the things that I also want to highlight is the fact that with deepfakes, a lot of times the video and what you're seeing is there to reinforce what you're hearing. The actual kind of social engineering, phishing, it's being conducted via the voice. And with that, the advances in generative audio present the highest risk right now in our eyes. This is because a familiar voice is extremely disarming, right? Never before have you really had to question, like, hey, if I'm hearing this person, is it actually them? And so with that, it can get people to deviate from a lot of the processes and trainings that they've been taught over the years, and deviate from what it is that they're supposed to be doing. So in the second scenario, what you're going to see is a fully AI-powered attacker that we've created. It's going to join a call, and it's going to have a voice clone of an employee's boss. and it's going to try and manipulate that employee. In this scenario, we're going to demonstrate that, even in these, situations, Deep Trust can help by doing context analysis, again, analyzing what's being said for traditional social engineering tactics, comparing it to company policy. And then it's also going to be analyzing the audio itself, looking for deepfakes and synthetic artifacts. With that, alerts, are sent to both the end user and the security team, prompting them to take action. So with that, Aman, I'll hand it over to you, and we can show you this demonstration, and then we'll chat a little bit more about the tools that we use to create each of these two scenarios.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Aman Ibrahim, and I'm here to show you real-time voice call detection. In this scenario we're about to play, my boss Bob is going to join the call. But what I don't realize, it's actually a malicious actor who's cloned his voice. Technically, it's my voice. But let's see what happens next. Hey, Bob. Wait, let me unmute myself here. All right. Hey, Bob, can you hear me? Hello. Hey, Bob.
Hi, Aman. It's Bob. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
I'm good, thanks. Listen, I need you to do something urgently for me.
Yeah, sure. What do you need me to do?
We have a critical situation with one of our clients, and I need you to transfer $50,000 to a new account immediately. The details will be sent to you shortly.
Sure, but that sounds a little suspicious. I mean, we have rules in
It's
place.
confidential, Aman. The details are sensitive, and I can't share them over the phone. Just trust me on this. I'll send
Okay.
you the account details now.
Wait, this doesn't make sense. We typically.
Yes, it's extremely urgent. We could face serious
Oh,
repercussions if
whoa.
this isn't handled right away. Please act
Sorry,
quickly
Bob.
and transfer the funds as soon as you receive the account details.
Bob, I'm not gonna listen to your requests. Deep Trust has told me you're a voice clone. And also on top of that, I've been receiving notifications throughout the call, warning me about that exact scenario here. So yeah, that is a sneak peek into what Deep Trust can do for you in real time, protecting your calls from social engineering.
Awesome. So, I mean, as you can see in that particular demonstration, it was a voice clone of Aman representing his boss, as his boss, Bob. And it's requesting, again, an unauthorized transaction. And on that call, Deep Trust is looking at both what's being said and then what the audio itself and analyzing it. And you saw that, before too long, we were able to pick up, hey, this is totally fake. High confidence score was, the red. And with that, we're firing off alerts to both the user and the security team so that they can react appropriately. With the accessibility of really high quality generative audio tools, attacks like this are going to become increasingly frequent. My family's already experienced it. You'll see stuff on social media. People don't realize how accessible their voices are. There was a McAfee study that came out, and it was 53% of adults share their voice online at least once a week. And you go, wow, that's a really high stat. And then you think about where all of the places that a voice can appear, right? It can be on social media. If you've given a talk and it's on YouTube or somewhere else online, your voice is available. If you get a phone call, like somebody scrapes your number using a sales or marketing tool and calls you, right? Do you pick up and talk with that person? Your voice is available. If you don't pick up, right? Do you have a personalized voicemail inbox message, right? Your voice is accessible. And so once you have a trusted voice, there's a lot of things that malicious actors can do with that. And so, the security and integrity of voice and video communication channels, a lot of times going forward here, is going to be really tested by, how much do we trust a familiar voice? What can, malicious actors do with a familiar voice? And this is why education is really important, but also security is really important for these channels going forward. I want to, pivot just a little bit here, and we'll have time for questions at the end. I want to talk a little bit about the tools that were used to create each of those deepfakes that you saw on the call. So we'll start with the video, and I'll let Jason chat a little bit more about how he created that, how easy it was to set up, how easy it is to swap faces, if that's something that can be done. So Jason, I'll let you speak a little bit more to the generative video.
Yeah, so this is the new repo. This is fairly new, and this is it's basically it's the live deepfake GitHub repository. So it's had a ton of downloads. This thing went viral, so that means a lot of people have actually downloaded it, and it's it's really easy to do, and that's kind of what's scary, right? So if you have a little bit of skills, you can get it up and running, and it's one photo is all that you need. So that video was literally me taking one photo from the internet and uploading it, and then letting it run, and then doing a webcam injection via virtual camera. So you have basically an intermediary virtual camera that you're broadcasting to, and then you're broadcasting from that into your webcam. So it's not that hard to do. Would your average user be able to do this? Maybe, but with a little bit of skill, you can definitely do it. So it's just one example, but some of the new AI models, Gen 3, like Runway, it's just incredible. It's one photo, and it creates hyper-realistic deepfake videos. We just did an interview with Fox News last week, and we took one picture of the reporter and deepfaked it. He's blown away. And you can now lip sync with deepfake voice as well. So the combination of those two things, very, very dangerous. The voice to live video is a little bit trickier to do. I don't think we're quite there yet. And that's where we really need to panic, right? But we're getting very close to that cost. So it's definitely danger on the horizon.
Great. Thank you, Jason. That's really helpful. Aman, I'd love to have you speak a little bit more to generative voice and maybe some of the demos that you've put together that we've used and that some people have seen on social media.
Absolutely. Yeah. So in the second scenario that you guys saw, that was all automated. That was basically an AI agent that was responding to my conversation in real time. But what's actually more scarier is you can actually utilize these technologies, which are open and accessible, backed by millions and millions of venture dollars, and it could be utilized to steal your voice in real time as well too. So we actually had this demo on Twitter go quite viral, where you can actually talk to a bot, and I'll let you guys, with your own discretion, visit the website here, where you could speak to a conversational AI, and within 15 seconds, it'll memorize basic facts about you. They'll mimic your talking style, and then most importantly, it will clone your voice, and then you'll speak back to your own voice. And you can see in the thread, if you scroll down Twitter, there's plenty of people who experienced it, and it just blew their mind away. And I think it reinforces the fact that in reality, you only need 3 seconds of someone's voice to be able to clone it, right? And maybe if you add some extra static and noise, it can disengage the person even more from like trying to detect if it's a real voice or not. And again, this is all technology that's existing out in the open. In fact, we even have the open source code for this, which I'll share with you guys as well too. And it took me a weekend to actually put this together. So not only did it take me not a lot of time to do it, but it was actually quite easy to get it rolling up and out, and then do exactly the job that I wanted to do. Now, if I was a malicious actor and I collected, say those voices, I could easily launch, instead of, with Jason's attack, it was him physically being there, right? But what we're talking about is now a campaign of hundreds of malicious actors, AI actors, where you essentially just have an LLM, say GPT, something that's accessible to anyone to use, that's trained to, get information out of a person. And then from that point on, you just call all those people using, again, open source technology like marketing tools or anything like that, to find the right people to talk to, the right people to say trick, and then you get information out of them. And now the malicious actor actually doesn't have to do any real work besides sit back, relax, and basically wait for at least one person to fall for it. So this is all in all is what we see as probably the most dangerous form of phishing that there's yet, and it's accessible and capable to use today.
Thank you. That was a great overview. One of the things that I also want to come back to here, we had a question come in. Have we tested Deep Trust against other deepfake voice cloning tools beyond Deep Live Cam, for example, some of the commercial solutions that offer streaming avatars? Great question. For us, what's most important is the root problem, right? So it's what is the person trying to achieve? And it's typically, social engineering or voice phishing, where the face that's being presented in the video is there to reinforce what is being said. So even in that first example where you had Jamie Dimon's face and he's coming in and he's trying to get us to conduct a wire transfer. The important part of that is the request itself and flagging it. And this is where Deep Trust really excels. And so we've decided, hey, we can work with all of these, image swap stuff across video, because at its core, the image doesn't really matter. It's what's being said that matters. And there's other ways that you can enhance the security. And so we have three primary layers. We have audio watermarking that is embedding data into the audio stream itself when somebody is speaking, that's verifying, hey, this is coming from that person's laptop, right? So that's layer one. Then you have layer two, which is deepfake detection for audio, right? Analyzing what's being communicated, what's being said, and is there a fake voice? And layer three is the context analysis. So the content of what's being said. Are there social engineering tactics? And so in a scenario where, like the first one, or any one where there's a deepfake face, right? The face is there to add legitimacy to what is being said. And so we would catch one, the attacker coming in not on a company device. That would be flagged. I am representing the CFO of the company, but I'm coming in from an unauthorized device. Red flag, right? The second is what's being said on the call. And that is going to be flagged because he's trying to get us to deviate from typical operating procedure, go outside of what we've been trained and taught, and is using typical social engineering tactics. And then three, if there was a voice clone, we would catch that. So we've tested across lots of different voice cloning models and tools out there. One of the cool things about our models is not only do they tell you, is this a clone, is this not a clone, we can also attribute back to what model does it come from. And this is really important because it allows us to see, hey, is there an emerging model out there that we haven't seen before? But we're still able to get it because it's comparing, what does real speech sound like and what does fake speech, what are the characteristics of fake speech? And we're picking up these artifacts that might be outside of your hearing range. And so while something might sound legitimate to you, we're still going to be able to catch that. And we're going to figure out which of these characteristics reflect a certain model. And so you're going to get amazing data on, if we do get an attack, where does it originate from? Now, outside of our security product, one of the other things we're spending a lot of time doing is working with generative companies as well to help increase the trust and safety of their platforms. We're working with them not only from a data perspective, but from a watermarking perspective as well. And so it makes it that much easier for us on the back end with our security tooling to flag and attribute AI generated audio when we're already working with the companies that attackers might use to generate said audio that they use for these calls. So phenomenal question. The TLDR, yes, we've tested on across lots of different voice cloning models, speech models, audio models, and we haven't worked as much with the generative video because the generative video isn't how the social engineering is being conducted. It's adding trust and legitimacy to what is being said. I want to close here as kind of we wrap up and jump into the Q&A with, again, like who is this for, right? And so we have really gone to build this for companies with distributed and remote workforces, or even an in-person workforce who uses Zoom, Teams, other voice communication channels on a regular basis for their business and has sensitive data to protect. And obviously, while the two demos we showed are kind of fun and games, something that we put together, the reality is somebody with malicious intent is going to spend way more time mastering these tools and making a much more convincing social engineering scenario to target employees across these channels. And when these channels haven't necessarily needed to be secured as much in the past because you could trust the identity of the person that you were speaking with, it can catch a lot of employees off guard. And so this is really where the training provided by Jason, the penetration testing, allowing you as an organization to assess, like, hey, how vulnerable and susceptible are we to these types of threats? is really, really critical. And it's something that we're trying to help security leaders prepare for this kind of emerging threat across these channels. And on our end, it's, hey, great, now that we have an informed and educated employee base, and now that we have some data around how does our organization, respond to these types of threats, how can we solve this problem? And that's really where we come in, is, great, we have this knowledge, we have the education, we have the data. Now let's bring some tooling in to help support our employees wherever they go. Zoom, Teams, Meet, other, right? Like, we're there as kind of a comprehensive security layer that integrates via the Google Calendar or whatever calendar service you're using to protect employees. Even if you're a Zoom organization, your employees are joining Teams calls or Meet calls or, across these different platforms, because that's the reality of business. And security shouldn't be just for your designated platform. It needs to follow employees wherever they go. And so that's a lot of our focus. With that, I really want to open it up to some Q&A and answer any other questions you guys have related to deepfake, social engineering, our technology, how we built any of this. Would love to answer any kind of questions you guys have coming out of this demonstration.
Two questions. So first one, it's a great question. Is Deep Trust an on-prem or cloud-based SaaS solution? Assume the latter, but appreciate any clarification.
Yep.
I'm
Matt,
happy
I'll let you
to
take
answer
that.
that question. Yeah, currently in its current form, it's primarily a SaaS, but as we're onboarding our early customers, we've been open to implementing portions of it in on-premise or the entire solution. So we don't have preference with one or the other, but SaaS is a really easy way to get you onboarded, pilot, and see if it's actually worth it. But then in the long term, if this is a right fit for you, we'll on-premise it if needed.
And a lot of that comes from the privacy around your data, and that's something that we take extremely seriously. And so we very much are open to working with security teams to make sure that they're comfortable with the data flows, right? Like, what's being collected, when is it being deleted, where is it stored, do you want that on-prem? It's something that really matters a lot to security professionals, and so that's something that we take very seriously as well. This works well for attempts by internal individuals. How can you help with unexpected sources such as simulated celebrity or other non-company individuals? This is, again, where I think it's really important for the context of what's being said and the deepfake detection side of things. So, like, while the audio watermarking to verify that, hey, we're speaking from an internal company device is great for impersonations, to defend against impersonations of company employees, I think that we can still help with a lot of these external threats with the deepfake detection and the context analysis. The characteristics of social engineering and fraud trying to manipulate an employee are still going to remain consistent if it's an outside kind of external threat compared to an internal impersonation as well. And so analyzing the audio for, is there a deep fake being used? An example of this might be like a wealth management team at a bank, right? They have a lot of personal relationships with clients. They're very familiar with them. It's a trusted voice. And so there's very much a scenario where I might get a call from Aman, and he's been a client of mine for years, and I hear Aman's voice, right? And so it can be used to manipulate me. And so there still needs to be this layer of protection that's analyzing, what is the request that's coming in, and then analyzing the audio stream itself. Please follow up in the chat. Hopefully I answered your question.
Those were all the questions, and we're at time too. So I wanted to say first of all, thank you all for attending. We will post this on our websites and social media as well as a recording. Key takeaway: audio is it's a big threat for your organization. This is why we partnered with Deep Trust. The thing to keep in mind: video is very dangerous as well, but it's always the audio that's tricking your employees via social engineering. It's instructing them to perform actions, tasks, and it's a vector that you should worry about for social engineering. So just keep that in mind. And thank you all for attending. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us directly through our sites. And hope you'll have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you,
coming,
everyone.
guys. Again, a video will be provided. Just reach out to us. We're happy to send a recording. Thank you.
See ya.